Alright, we're going to be tying a soft hackle fly here. We're going to be using some Simplify nanosilk. You can use whatever color you'd like for your hotspot. We're going to be using an Arex FW581 in size 6. I like these to be a little on the big side. And we're also going to be running some Simplify floss. And I'm using fluorescent red here. So we're going to get started about an eye length and a half, 2 eye lengths past the eye. And I like to bring this down to about the tip. It doesn't have to be perfect. Gotta snip this away there. We're going to work our way back up. We're going to stop just a little bit shy. Then we're going to grab some 2mm wire. Again, Simplify. I use mainly Simplify materials. All the synthetics I use are basically Simplify. We're going to go ahead and get that tied in. Doesn't matter if you do it on the top, the bottom, on the side. It really doesn't matter. Now we're going to come back up and we're going to build up just a little bit of a taper. Nothing crazy. Alright, then we're just going to throw a little half hitch in there. And then we're going to snip our tag end off. And the main reason that I come all the way down to the eye with this floss is it's going to give my nanosilk something to grip onto when I first start my thread. That's the only reason. We're going to give it a good tug and then pop that thread off there. If you just hold your scissors at a V and just pop, should have no problem getting it off there, even with dull scissors. A little trick I learned. Alright, we're going to bring this wire forward. Some people also add UV resin for durability and shine. We're not going to do that today. Not for this one. Then we're going to catch that wire in. Make sure everything looks okay. And I like to go in front of and behind. Then if you give that wire a good pull towards itself, it should helicopter off of there. A couple little turns, no problem. Alright, next. Now for this step, this is kind of optional, personal preference, but I like to do thinner peacock. I don't want this peacock to be like outrageous, you know. I don't want it to stand way up or anything on the fly. And I kind of stack it on top of itself. I don't really just bring it forward in single wraps. Now I know a lot of guys, they use the biggest hurl they can get at this part. I don't really find that necessary, so that's just my personal preference though. Not that it's not necessary, it's just not for me. Alright, next we're going to grab some Coq De Leon. You want to make sure that those fibers, you want them to be close to the point. So when I set this on here and my stem is right up against there, the fiber that's touching the edge is coming right perfectly to the point there. We're going to strip away all this nonsense at the bottom. That should do it. Alright, and now when we go to tie this in, I do like to have a couple of the shorter fibers in there. It's personal preference. So we strip all this back, and we're going to cut just a little tiny bit off there. Leave a little bit for tying it in. Now when I'm securing this, I'm giving it a good tight little tug there. Okay, now at this part, when you go to tie this in, you want to make sure that the back of the feather is laying up against the shank. If you tie it in the other way, obviously it's going to go on backwards. You can manipulate it and make it not go on backwards, but obviously it's much easier to do it this way. Then we're just going to preen those fibers back. And now when you wrap this, you want to make sure that you're catching these fibers and pulling them. If not, it's just going to get all out of whack. And it's okay if you come down towards the eye there. That's a good thing. You don't want a big head on this fly. You just want a tiny little head. We just want to get as much of this on here as we can without stacking it on top of itself. If you get little fibers like that trapped in there, it's alright, don't worry about it. Alright. Now we're going to lift this up here and I'm going to pop that off. I had to switch hands there for a split second. Now you gotta be careful right here because, like I said, you do not want a big head at all on this. At least I don't. But I also do not want it to go. Sorry about that, my video cut out. Sitting here building up this head. And I use my fingers to do whip finish most of the time. To me, I think it gives a little more control. But when I do something really small, I will use a regular whip finish. But, you know, if you can do it with your hands, it saves some time. If you can't, that's okay too. Alright. If there's anything you'd like to see, any types of tips and tricks videos, any tutorials, any types of flies, I tie just about everything that there is to tie. Let me know and we'll get it figured out. Thank you guys very much.